Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
But none of your charter rights are being breached by the police right now, is what we're saying.
No, it's these guys.
Well, they're here
Go
to
ahead.
take care of their act on there.
Okay, so my name's Melissa. I'm with the local health unit, and this is my coworker Allison. Yes. We were here about 2 weeks ago. So today we're here to let you know that you are being charged under the failing to comply with under order section 7.2 with the reopening of Ontario Act, and I'm just going to provide you a copy of that. Thank you. So you are being charged with that. You're not obliged to say anything. However, if you'd like to, please know that you can have that get used against you as evidence. Do you understand?
I understand that as soon as this goes to court, it will be thrown out because what is happening here is unconstitutional.
Okay.
And I do not agree. I am accepting this under duress. I will continue to stay open. I am not worried about this fine whatsoever. I know that it will be thrown out of a court of law if it gets that far. And yeah, I know I'm doing what I need to be doing for my children, for all of the children out there who are suffering, all of the people out there who are suffering. I know that this is the right thing to do.
For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini, joined again with Alexandra Stewart, who owns and operates Stewart's Decorating in North Bay, Ontario, which you initially came to us through our portal at iwillopen.com. And that portal is for small businesses who choose to remain open or offer services in defiance of these seemingly unconstitutional orders of shutdown that don't seem to be based in any science, data, or evidence-based decision-making. And so by the time we actually could publish your story, Alexandra, you have since been fined.
Okay, so my name's Melissa. I'm with the local health unit, and this is my coworker Allison. Yes. We were here about 2 weeks ago. So today we're here to let you know that you are being charged under the failing to comply with under order section 7.2 with the reopening of Ontario Act, and I'm just going to provide you a copy of that.
Thank you.
So you are being charged with that. You're not obliged to say anything. However, if you'd like to, please know that you can have that get used against you as evidence. Do you understand?
I understand that as soon as this goes to court, it will be thrown out because what is happening here is unconstitutional.
Okay.
And I do not agree. I am accepting this under duress.
Okay. Okay. We could just do a copy of your driver's license, please. Just do a copy of your driver's license.
No, I'm not giving you that.
No? Okay.
Do you have her name and date of birth and address?
Yeah, so we got that the last time. Yep. And today's date.
This is the time to ensure that you got that.
Yeah, I'm not there.
Okay, that's everything. Morgan, just feeling that these guys got this.
What is it? We don't need to accept it here. We're not doing it.
Okay, so just videoing that they've been presented with it and will not take it. Okay, as soon as you guys stand up and say no to this, it's over. Just want to put that out there. Like it's time for all of us to sit up and say no to this. To all of this. Because it's causing a lot more harm.
Now we're doing a follow-up story through our sister portal, our sister campaign at fightthefines.com. Now you were fined $750 under the Ontario Reopening Act, specifically section 7.2. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that interaction with police and I understand health officials went?
So it had been a couple of weeks since my last visit. So I didn't know if they were going to come back or not. I didn't know what to expect at all. So they showed up a couple of days ago on Wednesday. And I wasn't there when they first came. When I got back to the store, I had an email from the health unit that said, please make yourself available. Actually, I don't even think it said please. It said make yourself available at 3 p.m. We'll be back. and they came back at 2. So I went outside at first to talk to them, and I handed the police a few pieces of paper. I don't think you see that on the video. I handed them the mission statement from the group Police on Guard for Thee. I handed that to the police, and I handed them a copy of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
So I left that with them. I went back inside. I printed the piece of paper, the letter that I was provided with before, that it basically said that what they were doing was unlawful, and that I would be holding them personally liable for infringing on my Charter of Rights and Freedoms, on my rights and freedoms.
But that didn't seem to sway their
No.
eagerness to ticket you finally after several months of surveillance and threats of being fined.
Yes. So I did my best. It's very nerve-wracking in the moment to be in that situation, but I was trying to get the message to them that what they were doing was wrong, and it's wrong for all Canadians, you know, all business owners.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of continued pushback that now there is evidence, there is data that these lockdowns are causing a lot of harm to all of society, especially small businesses, but children, adults, people with disabilities, everyone is suffering now for a virus with what is alleged to be a 99.63 and up survival rate. So there needs to be a more balanced approach here. And when you were pushing back on the police a little bit, you know, they stated in the video, we can run a clip here of that interaction.
We are strictly here to keep peace and everything. In regards to like the Charter of Rights and stuff like that, they did enforce this Reopening Ontario Act, which is coming to effect. So, okay, so we are only here for that. We're not here to arrest you. We're not here to do anything like that.
But I do have to tell you guys both that what you're doing right now goes against my Charter of Rights. And it was your oath, the oath that you took is to uphold my rights and freedoms under the Charter. Okay.
So again, we're only here to stand by, keep the peace. We're not doing anything.
We're doing anything like that.
In regards to this act, it has been enacted for this emergency circumstances situation.
And it does not supersede my Charter.
I'm just explaining. I know I'm operating, so I appreciate your concerns and where you're coming from. But for us as the police, we're not here to arrest you. We're not taking your freedom away. We're here to stand by, make sure everything's no different than us going to help out eviction process and the Landlord-Tenant Act. We don't have any authority to do that, but we're there just to make sure nothing gets out of hand. That's why we're here.
That. What I'm explaining to you is that the Act is not it does not. So all of this.
But none of your charter rights are being breached by the police right now, is what we're saying.
No, it's these guys.
Well,
Go ahead.
these guys are acting on their own.
Okay, so my name's Melissa. I'm with the local health unit.
And when they state there that they're not infringing, you know, they're asking you what rights are we infringing on? Well, as a Canadian citizen under your chartered rights, you have a right to economic freedom and a right to make a living. Now, Alexandra, did you ever think that you would be criminalized for merely trying to run an honest business?
Never. And the fact that this is being done should be terrifying to everyone. What I keep hearing people say is that it's only a couple more weeks. A couple more weeks, if we're good, they're going to let us out of this. But I just don't feel like that's true at all. I feel like if we don't push back now, the consequences are going to be catastrophic. And that is the only reason why I'm staying open in this way. I definitely could operate my business with my doors locked, and it wouldn't have that much of an impact on my business. I can operate that way. I'm honestly just doing this because I do not feel like this is going to end. And I feel like if I don't stand up right now, and if others don't stand up, we are headed to something dangerous, like very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the justification just doesn't seem to be there. So you're in North Bay, and that's one of 4 regions that remain in lockdown as
Yes.
per Doug Ford's guidance.
Yes.
Can you make sense of that? Is there any data or reasoning to back that up in North Bay?
As far as I can see, health officials are not using any data. There's no evidence. There's no transparency whatsoever. In North Bay, we've had, I believe that like one of the lowest cases in Ontario the whole time. We did have an outbreak with a new variant the week before last, and I think that health officials are saying that this is the reason that we're in a continued lockdown, but it does not make sense. Mm-hmm. We've also in North Bay, for the last 6 weeks, we've not been allowed to use outdoor rinks, go tobogganing, the snowmobile trails have been closed. I believe we're the only place in Ontario with those restrictions as well. Yeah, we have to be asking why. Mm-hmm. Everyone needs to be questioning this.
Yeah, it seems very heavy-handed.
Very.
And again, like you've stated with, and we've stated before, with no end in sight, and that is very concerning, especially with so much economic uncertainty over the past year, and now, of course, going forward into 2021, and who knows, even future years, what the things that you're hearing from the news and politicians. So, Alexandra, how, does this fine affect you at all? What is your plan moving forward?
I will continue to stay open. I am not worried about this fine whatsoever. I know that it will be thrown out of a court of law if it gets that far. And yeah, I know I'm doing what I need to be doing for my children, for all of the children out there who are suffering, all of the people out there who are suffering. I know that this is the right thing to do. So I will continue to do it.
Mm-hmm. And so you have officially joined our campaign at fightthefines.com. So we don't want you to pay that fine. We will crowdfund your legal fees and put you in touch with a lawyer to push back on the legalities around these COVID fines.
I saw the video of her being confronted by the officers, and I was really shocked. First off, we have to put this in perspective. We're talking about a small business selling housing decor and wanting to stay open. This isn't a drug business. This isn't some criminal enterprise. This is literally just a family business selling house decorations. And Alexandra is a good, hardworking person who's just trying to put food on the table, who's worked so hard for so many years to start up and run a business. And by the way that she's spoken to by not one officer, but by 4 officers, you think that she was some huge criminal. And, the police, just watching the video, the police officer said that they're there to make sure nothing gets out of hand. And I'm just thinking, looking at Alexandra, like what would get out of hand? This is a petite woman with no criminal record. She doesn't look very scary or intimidating to me. Mm-hmm. And then I saw her store, and I saw how big it is. And the size of that store, it's much bigger than your typical even Dollarama or McDonald's, as I mentioned. So if those ones can be open, why can't a massive store like this be open? It doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And she actually told me that, not only is she being handed these fines, and she even received one today, but she's also being harassed and bullied. They're even leaving negative Google reviews. And I actually just wrote down a couple, I copied a couple and just put them down here, and I'll just read one of them. And it's incredible to me. One of the reviews says, "We'll never shop here. Owner doesn't care about anyone other than herself. If you get sick with COVID, she doesn't care. All she wants is to make her money. And if you die, not her problem." I mean, this is an example of the type of hyperbole that people are feeding into, and this is the kind of influence that the government has, right? People are just accepting, or buying into this culture of fear, and then they're potentially bullying other people. And what choice does Alexandra have? What should she do? I mean, it's either that she gets heavily fined and be seen as some criminal, or go bankrupt. I mean, what do you want her to do? What's the alternative? What option does she have?
Exactly. And a criminal for simply just trying to make, like you noted, an honest living. So without giving away the game plan, how do you plan to fight this fine?
Well, as I've mentioned many times, these laws are unconstitutional, and these laws are what are apparently justifying these heavy fines and just all these government actions. So as I've said before, the only way you can justify infringing someone's charter rights is if the law is proportional. That means, again, does the law minimally impair the person's rights, and do the benefits of the law outweigh the negative effects? In all of these cases, the answer is no. And our main strategy will be to launch a constitutional challenge and just challenge all the laws that are underpinning all of these heavy fines.
Since your story was published, I think just yesterday, or the support that you have received from the community and Rebel supporters has been quite overwhelming, maybe even at times.
It's surprised me. It's been, it's wonderful to receive so many messages of support and people stopping in the store. It's amazing.
Well, I'm glad that you've been on the receiving end of some positive feedback from the community. And it sounds like the community's done. They want to see more businesses open, and they support businesses in reopening. And when did we stop allowing adults to make those decisions for themselves?
Exactly. People need to be able to make their own choices about their own bodies and their own lives. And it's not right. It's crazy to me that we are being told what to do, and all of our freedoms are being taken away. It's just not right.
If you have a message for those police or the health officials that showed up and ticketed you the other day, what would that be?
I know that people are scared. I know that they're scared to stand up. It is frightening. I think so many people are worried about what other people think. People are worried about their jobs and keeping their jobs. So they feel that they have no choice but to follow along. But they do have a choice. And I think everyone needs to look within themselves and figure out what's going on and speak their truth and stand in their truth. And that is what I'm asking for all police and all health officials to do, to stand up and speak their truth.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Alexandra. We will update your story when we have a better idea of how this ticket upholds in a court of law.
Thanks
For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you're a small business who has been faced with COVID fines or threats under the Reopening Ontario Act for simply trying to go about making an honest living after nearly a year of continued economic uncertainty, we don't want you to pay that fine. We want to crowdfund for you to fight that fine. Head over to our campaign at fightthefines.com and submit your fine. Tell us your story. Share some of your struggles on the Rebel News platform. And if you're able, please consider making a donation to help us crowdfund legal defense for the small businesses who face continued uncertainty and threats of closure and potentially even bankruptcy. That's fightthefines.com.